I have one day to cross this plateau, or spend a winter's night above 4,000 metres. I wanted to ride through 2 conservation reserves on a high altitude plain bordering Bolivia. Problem was, the plateau sits between 4,000 and 4,500 metres. Sleeping at that elevation is tough, plus early winter nights can drop to -8 or colder. So the plan was simple: ride the length of the reserves north to south in a day, about 220 kilometres. The mapping app said 6 hours. If that was right, I could make it before dark and avoid riding in the cold of the early morning and late afternoon. After leaving the coastal city of Arica, I planned to camp on the edge of the plateau and strike out across it the following day.
Bugger. Well, that wasn't in the plan.
This unexpected road closure would add another hour to my cross-plateau ride, and I was already on a tight time frame.
But I'm thinking I might try and find a camp pretty soon, because I don't want to get caught out riding in the dark up here. And it's going to be pretty cold too, so I want to make sure I get a nice spot tonight. Sun's beautiful at the moment though. Good morning. Well, I had a bit of a patchy sleep. I don't tend to sleep well at altitude. I either get insomnia or I get sleep apnea, so neither of those is ideal. But I got a few hours somewhere in between last night and this morning. Little thermometer on the Tenere reckons it's -2. Watch out for big cats. Okay, well in about a kilometre's time I'll turn off this road and I'll head down towards where I would have ended up if that road hadn't closed yesterday. Sorry, the cold air's having impact on my voice. So yeah, it was about 70 extra k, so an hour and a bit or something. So that's put me behind schedule. Oh, I didn't expect this bit to be sealed. Well, that's my answer about the tar. It ends here. So it looks like the majority of the run will be on dirt. I've heard there's a couple of mines down this way, so that's probably why the roads are in good nick. Might be some corrugations from the trucks though. Reserva Nacional Las Vicuñas. I'm heading down towards the Saltlake at the moment. And once I get there, I reckon I'll have lunch and throw a bit of fuel in the bike and reassess, see how I'm going for time. I think I'm doing okay. It's so beautiful up here. It must just be a joy to visit in summertime. You could just take your time and plod your way through, camp. Yeah, it'd be great.
At one point, I met a park ranger coming from the opposite direction. He took my name and details and asked where I was headed. After I told him my proposed route, he said I would have no problem getting through. That was reassuring.
Yeah, Chilean drivers very different to Peruvian drivers. Friendly waves and no intent to kill. Alpacas. What a pretty spot. So fluffy. I stopped back there for some lunch. It was another out of the clay pan. I was getting hungry. Or the Salt Lake, I should say. So another hour to there, and then it's 90 k's south of there that I'm trying to get to tonight. That's 90 k's as the crow flies. So once again, if the road's okay, it'll be an hour and a bit. If the road's shit house, well, it'll be something else entirely. I've hit a section with a bit of sand and some bulldust, and it's a bit hard to pick your lines when the trucks are coming in clouds of dust around the corners, so it slowed me down a bit. But yeah, I'm not quite sure how far I'm going to get today, whether I'm going to make it off the plateau after all. Looking pretty good there for a while, but yeah, not so sure now. I've just had a check of my map, and it's saying that I've got 100 kilometres to go to where I want to camp tonight, off the edge of the plateau. It also tells me that it's going to take over 6 hours to get there. When I was doing my planning, it was supposed to be about 6 hours across the whole plateau. It's weird too, because when I talked to the ranger, he said, oh, you won't have any troubles going through this way. So, don't reckon he would have said that if I've got 6 hours of 13k an hour track ahead. So let's hope the ranger is right and the mapping app is wrong. I'll press on until I'm too tired to ride, or I just get jack of it or whatever. And if I make it to my destination, well, that'd be great. And if I don't, well, I'll have a interesting night ahead on the high plains. I should get going, but can't resist stopping here. Beautiful. Afternoon. Look at this. Well, the environment's changed a bit. Been a slightly more techie section through here, but it looks like it's just the pass over the hills. Looks like we're going to get back on the flats in a sec. Shout for camelids. A bit of snow in the creek.
With less than an hour before sunset, I was tired and it was getting cold.
24 k's to go.
But it looked like I was going to make it off the plateau.
Well, after a day of unbelievably beautiful vistas, here's a beautiful one to end the day.
Yeah, my hat got a bit squashed on that trip. Anyway, keeping the sun off. Yeah, thankfully the mapping app was wrong and the advice from the ranger was right, and that was that it would that I wouldn't have any dramas getting through here. And it took me a little over maybe 2.5 hours, and there were some pretty sketchy sections. And then the last section was horrible corrugations, which were just and there was sandy patches in them too. And I just thought, yeah, I don't have the energy anymore for this. Too late in the day, too tired. Anyway, I rattled along and finally got to my camp. Pretty spot. Camp's a bit of a pigsty at the moment. I'm just waiting for my water to defrost so I can make some porridge for brekkie. And I was just figuring out how much tucker I've got left, and I found out something interesting. My mini snack salami pack actually makes a pretty good barometer. Presumably that was packed down at sea level. Although I was relieved to have made it across the plateau in a day and avoided a winter's night of high altitude sleep apnea, it had been an uncomfortable camp. At 3,700 metres I was still cold, and as I lay awake with a halo of ice around my sleeping bag hood, I decided that it would be my last Chilean winter camp at altitude. Until the weather turned in spring, I would stay under 2,500 metres. But that still left me a huge amount of Chile to explore.